what makes the first shows of tours special for the Mountain Goats, is a bunch of ridiculous, cantankerous preconditions that normal bands don't have because they are smart and professional. So one of them for me is like, you know, if you see the set list of a band who's on tour, there'll be like a double line, and then their encore, and then another double line, and then their second planned encore. When I see those, because I am 12 years old permanently in my mind, right, then I think, you are presuming upon the goodwill of the audience, and it's wrong to presuppose an encore, even if you know for a fact you're going to get one because you tour all the time, right? Still, it seems wrong to say, okay, well, this is what I will play after they show me that they love the set that I haven't even played yet. Right? There's a part of me that is a child that says, no, you have to come out for the encore pure, right? With no concept of what you're going to play. Right? Now, if we are touring as a band, we are then limited by the ones we know together. But when I'm out by myself, it means that I am, for the encore, I stand stark before the face of the infinite. Like, you say woo, but at the same time, that means that the encore is then in a space of conceivably being terrible, right? Depending on what I land upon. Like, I can come out and do death metal band, and I know how to play that song. But my whole point is no. My whole point is, no, it's better to fly free and see what you can find that is real. So this is a song, I gotta get a beer for this song, hold on a second. What's the beer? So this is a song about a little fellow who is very dedicated to the things that bring him pleasure in his life, you know, to the things that make him feel like his life has been useful. And he doesn't do much with his life. Generally speaking, he just works on the pipes underneath his town, right? And tries to stay busy, you know, keeping things clean for people who don't really think about what he's doing, right? They sort of take him for granted. But that's okay with him, because he has someone that he loves, and that's enough for him. But then one day, he wakes up to learn that his intended has been kidnapped and taken away. And taken away by a terrible dragon. And I am generally speaking pro-dragon, but that's mainly in theory, right? If you had a real dragon in your life, then your position on dragons would be entirely different. Right? It's like, you and I are both very much in favor of dragons circling the skies of our city and sending fire on the buildings below until it's our own buildings, right? Then our stance on dragons, we would have to amend that stance, right? So this guy finds out, he gets a note one day that says, you know, a dragon has taken the person you love away to his castle. And I don't know if he even knew beforehand that there were any castles in his kingdom, right? Because the kingdom, for the most part, just looks like some pipes underneath the city. It doesn't seem like he knows much about anything else. Just the pipes, right? But he has to make his way through the pipes and bounce on some crabs. You know? And defeat things that are throwing terrible fire at him, right? And it's harsh. Because if you really stop to consider what his life was like before this morning, right? He was living a normal life like you and I. He wakes up and has breakfast and takes a shower, you know, and goes to work and comes home from work and says hello to the people he likes and maybe watches a little TV. Who knows? There's no TVs in the game. It's hard to say. Then suddenly he has to go on a big adventure to save somebody who he believes is in peril. But without question he goes. Without question he goes. And that's what makes him a hero. Is that he wakes up this one morning jolted from the daily reality of his life and says, I have to go and rescue this person I love because she is my princess. And so he battles horrible monsters. And he confronts fire. And like, I know this is long, but like, if you, in your life, suddenly woke up to find somebody throwing fire at you, you would cop the fuck out. Right? You would say, no, whatever it is you want from me, you can have it, but stop throwing fire at me because I'm not used to this. This is a disruption in my life. But he just jumps over the fire. He's a good fellow. And then he battles the terrible dragon. And the dragon falls through a disappearing bridge into the lake of fire. And he goes into the room waiting to see his beloved, right? And he says, to himself, here it is, I've spent all this time getting here, but now I'm going to see her again. But instead there's a little guy who's also his friend who he hadn't even been thinking about because his focus was he'd gotten kind of myopic in his quest. And he says to himself, well, where's my princess? But she's not there, but his friend is, who he didn't even know was being held prisoner. Who he didn't even know was missing. This is a lonely person waiting in the dungeon of the dragon to be rescued, but he doesn't have somebody who's in love with him. He has friends, but he's all alone. But his friend doesn't think about how he was all alone. He suddenly, on seeing his friend, is all light and pleasantry, and he says, "Thank you, Mario." But our princess is in another castle. I waited here all by myself. The room was dark and it smelled like sulfur. Sure my life was over. I kept my hat on just for luck. Sang simple tunes the whole night through. I wondered if I'd wake to find myself in flames as I waited here for you. Yeah, when you came in, I could breathe again. I saw some guys dressed up like sorcerers, blue robes that float above the ground. They came and went, and I was frightened for my life. I tried not to make a sound. Just when my solitude was closing in, I heard a noise like screeching tires. And I told you the one thing I know how to say. Through the bright ringing drone of 8-bit choirs. Yeah, when you came in, I could breathe again.